What is going on, everyone? This is Ninja Geek here, and today we're bringing you some more Black Ops 3. Of course, I got a ton of footage here, so I'm just going to let this be the backdrop for this video, but the gameplay is not the main purpose here. I wanted to kind of break away from sort of video games a little bit, not that I'm trying to get away, but because this came up in my mind, and I'm going to get to why, but everyone on Earth loves music. There's just genres that different people tend to like, but in general, anyone can agree that they love to listen to music. There's just no doubt about it, whether you listen to it a ton or a little bit here on the side, just doing extra activities and such like that. Music helps our everyday lives to kind of rejuice and you know, make your mind clear and help you think better. Music is amazing, and without it, I don't know where we'd be today. But anyways, I'm going to talk about my favorite bands, my favorite type of music, my favorite genre, and you can leave that in the comments section below, so you can tell me what kind of bands you like to listen to, your favorite genre, and so on. But in this video, it's all going to be about me and what I like to listen to, and then I love to read in the comments about what other people's opinions are. So let's get started off, and first I want to say that my genre that I love to listen to, generically, I guess generally, is rock. Now, there are different forms of rock, like now rock has kind of turned into rock/metal, then you got rock/pop. There's different kind of rock cultures within the rock scenario, but we're just going to roll with the general rock. And Metallica was the first band that I ever listened to. Now, Metallica is classified more under metal, I would say, but definitely are a part of the rock/metal. I would classify all these under rock/metal. And I first listened to Metallica. That was my first ever experience, I would say, with getting into listening to that type of music. And my first ever song that I listened to by them was Fade to Black from the Ride to Lightning album, which was their second album released. And from there, I started to listen to more songs on that album. And then from there, it kind of progressed into different albums. Of course, we have the Kill 'Em All album, which was their first album, and then after that we have Master of Puppets and Justice for All. But my favorite album, if you know me well, is the Black Album, the Metallica Black Album. And some people that are hardcore Metallica fans may say, oh, well, you know, that album didn't really show off what true Metallica used to be compared to what happened in the Black Album, but when I heard the Black Album, I mean, you got Enter Sandman, Nothing Else Matters, The Unforgiven, which The Unforgiven is my favorite song by Metallica of all time. You just have all of these great songs here within this out. Sad But True, I forgot about that one. There's probably more that I'm forgetting about. But you have all of these songs, and they, like, literally just got me right into the metal/rock scene. And from there, you know, I listened to a lot more Metallica, and I just kept going with it. And Metallica to this day is it's the first band that got me started into the kind of metal/rock genre of music, and I really enjoyed their style. My favorite album, of course, like I just said, is the Black Album, or also known as the Metallica album. And then from there, it kind of progressed further into more metal. So Avenged Sevenfold came up next, and the reason why I put this next here on the list is simply for the fact that they are, I kind of heard about them obviously through friends and stuff like that too. It's not like I'm just like under a rock, so to speak, and then I'm like hearing about all these. I heard about them, but I never listened to it. So after Metallica, I started listening to more Avenged Sevenfold, and you know, their first album came out a long, long time ago, and then from there they kind of progressed into what they are today. They have a couple, you know, they don't have like an insane amount of albums, but they have a really good, decently sized album. And my favorite album, I'm probably going to say it's Hail to the King, their newest album, and the reason being is because, yes, I do like a lot of the other songs on the other albums, like, for example, the Avenged Sevenfold with the White Album, I guess you could call it. That album has great songs on it as well. There's like a couple of great songs on there. There's Gunslinger, there's the Unbound, The Wild Ride, I like that one, A Little Piece of Heaven, Dear God, especially, all of those. But then, you know, there's other songs that are just, they're okay. But on Hail to the King, except for number 5, by the way, because I don't like Requiem. I think that song I don't like it at all. But beside from track number 5, Hail to the King is excellent. Every song on it is literally great. I love listening to that song. That's why I would say that Hail to the King is my favorite Avenged Sevenfold song. And that's it. So far we got Metallica and Avenged Sevenfold. The next one that I want to talk about is Shinedown. Now, lots of people know Shinedown for their one song, The Sound of Madness, and while that is an excellent song, yet it is not my favorite Shinedown song, and I'm going to be getting into that in a second. But the whole reason for me doing this commentary spawned out of Shinedown, and that's, of course, if you don't know or if you don't follow them, they just released their album last Friday called Threat to Survival. Every song on it is really great. I love listening to it so far. Every song is great, so I would highly recommend buying that album. But I got into Shinedown a few years ago when my friend told me about them, and I thought that they were great. And then I really started to listen to them, and the Sound of Madness album is actually, of course, going to, I don't know if it would be considered my favorite album of all time, because, you know, there's a bunch of songs on it, and the Sound of Madness, of course, is on that album. It is a very good song, but it's not my favorite yet song. And what is my favorite Shinedown song, you may ask? Well, that would be The Crow and the Butterfly. I love the instrumental of that version of that song that you can find on YouTube and stuff like that. I love the original version. I love the whole song in general. It's my favorite song by Shinedown. So I think that Threat to Survival is just better in general, because of course in Sound of Madness, like I said, you have Sound of Madness, Crow and the Butterfly, my favorite song. You have Breaking Inside, which is on the deluxe editions, and you also have Diamond Eyes. Diamond Eyes is another great song. But on Threat to Survival, I'd say it's very close to the best, is because you got Cut the Cord, State of My Head, Black Cadillac. You have every song on here is really good, and there are some songs that are not like over the top excellent, but overall the album doesn't have a terrible song on it at all. So I'd highly suggest buying Threat to Survival, and my favorite album is probably Sound of Madness, just because of those classic other songs that I mentioned before. But that's the whole reason that spawned me to do this video, because of Shinedown and their album that just came out. So that's really what got me on this topic, and we are going to get into the next band, which is Poets of the Fall. Now, some of you may not have heard of this band, because they are not from the United States. It depends on where you live and such, but they are not a United States band, so they are out of country, and they appeared, actually my friend told me about them, because it's kind of a hard story to explain, and I'm not going to sit here and explain this whole story, but actually if you want to check that out, I will leave a link in the description below to the Alan Wake video game review that I did. That was a while back ago, but basically Poets of the Fall appeared in this video game, and my friend told me about the video game. Alan Wake is one of my favorite games of all time. If you've been subscribed on this channel and you hear me talk about that, Alan Wake is one of my favorite games of all time, and in that game, Poets of the Fall, also known as Old Gods of Asgard, that's their band name in the game, they perform two songs, which are, what the hell's the name of these songs? There is Children of the Elder God, and the Poet and the Muse. That's it. So you have these two songs. Actually, I think there's a third one that I can't think of right now, but they are amazing songs. And my friend started telling me about how, you know, this band in this game, and he told me the whole story, how basically they are a real band in real life, but changed the name of their band for the game and made real songs, but they're not part of they're the same band, but they're not like Poets of the Fall, quote. But anyways, getting into Poets of the Fall in real life, they are not like heavy metal rock like you'd think of Metallica, some of their songs, but you know, they're really kind of more mellow, I guess you could say. And my favorite album by Poets of the Fall is Signs of Life, their first ever album, because I really like all the songs on it, and my favorite song by them is Illusion and Dream. Now, of course, there are other ones. You may think, oh, well, what about Carnival of Rust? What about War? War was a great one, and they actually used War in Alan Wake from their songs. Then there's Temple of Thought. Then there's, you know, there's Days. There's Jealous Gods from their new album. So why Illusion and Dream? Illusion and Dream speaks very clearly to me, and that's why it is my favorite song. I love every part of it. The first time that I ever heard it, I couldn't stop singing it, and actually I used this song as a quote for my senior quote for this year in high school. and the quote is like in the middle of the song, "It doesn't solve a thing to dress it in a pretty gown." Now, of course, I would include more than that because there's more lines than that, but basically, when it says it doesn't solve a thing to dress it in a pretty gown, it's talking about, to me anyways, how it doesn't solve anything in your life to put your problems aside from you. You always want to address your problems as they appear, because if you put them to the side, then it's just not it's not solving anything for you, just putting it off like that. And that, very clearly speaks to me, so that's why that is my favorite song. But Poets of the Fall in general, like I said, of the songs that I mentioned, there's Illusion and Dream, Stay, Seek You Out, 3 a.m., you have War, which appeared, like I said, in Alan Wake, you have Temple of Thought, and by the way, if you want to hear an excellent Temple of Thought, look up the acoustic version or the unplugged studio version. That version is excellent. And then you have their new album that came out in 2014, which is their newest album, and you got Days, Jealous Gods, I Like Brighter Than the Sun, Love Will Come to You. Rogue is an excellent instrumental on that album. Then you got Nothing Stays the Same. Those are some of my favorite songs from there. So I'd highly recommend Poets of the Fall for a band that I like, along with everything else. So, there's Shinedown, which is more, it's more rock. You got Metallica, which is metal rock. Avenged Sevenfold, which is metal. And then rock, it's kind of combination of that. And then we got Poets of the Fall, which is more on the lines of rock, but it's soft rock. So that's what's there. And next, we have Alter Bridge. And Alter Bridge, I found out about it from one of my other friends that told me about this one song from their first album called Broken Wings, and this song was great. So I listened to that, but I never really listened to anything else. That was the only song that I listened to. And then I was like, you know what? That song was great. Why didn't I start listening to this band more? So then I started listening to the band more, and over time I found out that, they have the Blackbird album, they have Alter Bridge 3, and then they have their newest album, which is Fortress. My favorite album is Alter Bridge 3 because the whole album is great. But I honestly can't even tell you what's my favorite song from Alter Bridge 3. It literally is a great album. There's Ghosts of Days Gone By, All Hope Is Gone, Still Remains, Make It Right, Wonderful Life. I can't even list them all. Life Must Go On. Every song from that album is excellent, and I would highly recommend, and that's why Alter Bridge is another one of my favorite bands. They are rock, more, I guess they're not metal, they're more rock, and then there's some soft rock songs here and there, like Life Must Go On is more, it's not like, getting to that rock point, but all of this is still falling into the same category, so I'd highly recommend checking out Alter Bridge as well. And next we have Pearl Jam. Now Pearl Jam has a lot of albums, so it's kind of hard to pinpoint which songs necessarily you love and which ones are just okay and which ones you don't like, but they do have a lot of albums. The known Pearl Jam song is, of course, Jeremy. That one is well known, like everywhere you go. It's literally the most known song, probably, I would say. And then, of course, you have their newest album, Lightning Bolt, which came out in 2013. And on there, I think my favorite song is Sirens. Either that or Infallible. I love both of those songs, and I feel that I think Sirens is a little bit better, but Pearl Jam is definitely a great band if you have the time to listen to a lot of songs. They also have an album called The Lost Dogs, which is a bunch of songs that they just didn't release on there, and that's why it's called The Lost Dogs, meaning like, they're just unreleased songs, and those are great as well. So I'd highly recommend Pearl Jam. Again, another rock band, rock-ish band for a genre. Now, next, I want to talk about something a little bit different, because there, of course, you can't always just like the one genre. So if you ever have watched The Walking Dead, you've seen Emily Kinney. And Emily Kinney is more of an actress. I wouldn't say that she is like an excellent performer in terms of music and style, but she's not bad either. She has some great songs, like in Expired Love, like all the songs are pretty much great. This Is War is her new album that just came out, or is coming out, I mean to say. She has a pre-order release on that, so you can get that on iTunes. And This Is War, I feel, is a great song. So I just wanted to throw that in there. She is more of pop, I guess you could say, but there's a song Rockstar, which has rock and pop, so she's more of pop, but it's kind of a combination of both depending on what song you listen to. And last but not least, I wanted to talk about my favorite country singer. That is Willie Nelson. Now, Willie, you may think, oh, well, you like all this rock, and then you're just throwing these two at the end here, like, what gives? Well, I mean, I've heard a bunch of different stuff, and the first time that I ever heard Willie Nelson was in the movie Zombieland 2009, Blue Eyes Crying in the Rain. I was like, that's a good song, so I looked up who did it, and, oh, it's Willie Nelson. Oh, that's cool, okay. And then I started listening to more songs by him, and all of his songs, his country songs, are great. And I would highly recommend him if you like that kind of band. But that's it on this video. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on bands you like. It's not like this commentary isn't like formal, like, oh, I like this, and then it's like going into branching into these different things. I wanted to just throw my free-fall thoughts out there into the video so you can get an idea of what kind of bands I like to listen to, what kind of other people / singers I like to listen to. And that's it, so I'll see you on whatever my next video happens to be. I'm Ninja Geek. I'm out. Peace.